Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we go over my pedal board. So some of you may know I recently got into the whole band game again with my new band, Rest Repose, and I've had a lot of questions about the pedal board I built for the band and what I'm using and the routing and all that kind of stuff. So this video is just going to go over just that. First, we'll start with the guitar. Primarily in the band, I'm using this 1977 Gibson RD Artist. This is not the standard that you guys are used to seeing. I actually got another 77, believe it or not. It's had a lot of work done to it that I have done to it. We're going to go over that in a separate video, but this is going into a Buddy Guy Crybaby Wah, into the pedal board, and then into, for this purpose, a 1992 Revision E Mesa Boogie 2-channel dual rectifier into a 2-Notes Torpedo Studio. Now, normally I'm going into a modified 1995 regular Rev G 2-channel dual rectifier into a mid-90s custom Mesa Boogie dual rectifier 4x12 cab with vintage 30s, but that's at the practice base, and I didn't feel like bringing it over here for the purposes of this video. So let's get started with the pedal board. First, I normally go into a wah. At the practice space, I've been using the CAE, Custom Audio Electronics Dunlop wah. For this video, I chose the Buddy Guy wah because it's a pretty close approximation, and I do switch between them with the band, just depends on what I'm feeling. That is one reason why I didn't attach a wah to the pedal board itself, because I'm kind of fickle when it comes to wahs, and if I'm feeling something else, I want to be able to just quickly switch it out and use that. And yeah, I can use, use the wah with a battery, and it's all good. So I have it first in the chain. From there, I'm going into an MXR Smart Gate. Now, the reason why I chose the Smart Gate, not the ISP Decimator or the Boss NS2 or something like that, is because I like the amount of options that are with the MXR Smart Gate. The differences between the MXR Smart Gate and the ISP Decimator 2 are negligible, but I find that the MXR Smart Gate can be a little faster with the gate if you're right next to a roaring dual rectifier half stack at band volume. And sometimes when you stop playing and that gate takes just a second longer to clamp, then you're feeding back and all sorts of stuff. And besides, I have a Dunlop endorsement, so why wouldn't I just go with MXR Smart Gate? After the Smart Gate, I go into the TC Electronic Polytune 2. I love this tuner. It's simple, effective. I didn't want the big guy because I wanted to stay small and compact, and I just didn't need to, daisy chain any power outlets or anything like that. So I just went with the mini, and I love it. Next, after the Polytune, goes into a TC Electronic Flashback. This is outside of the looper that we'll get to in just a minute, because I wanted a delay outside of that to just kind of go with whatever I was feeling at that time. If I wanted to add it to the end of a distorted part or something like that, I wanted to be able to do that, and you'll see why I have to have the second one in just a second. So from the Flashback, we go into an American Looper, programmable looper pedal, and I had this modified. I asked American Loopers to modify this because normally you have 5 loops, but I asked them to use 1 loop to do a regular old school style latching. So I'll put it in the live mode, and I can switch the channel on my amp. And since the dual rectifier uses like a Marshall style, just a regular old-fashioned 1/4-inch switching style plug, this is good for me, because then I can, for example, I can hit my bass clean channel, which is just a clean with a touch of Polera. And then I want to go to a dirty boosted sound. Well, then I'll go to my preset 4, which is the dirty channel of the dual rectifier with my signature fastback slow fire overdrive in front of the amp. And then if I so choose, I can go straight from that to the clean channel with a delay. And I'm not going to show how to program this, but basically this eliminates the need for a MIDI switching system for me. and I can program any effects in the loop to go to any foot switch I want, and also tell it if I want it to switch the channel of the amp or not. This keeps everything central on the pedal board, and I don't have to have anything near the head. The head and the cabinet can be by themselves on the stage away from me. And I have everything right at my feet where I want it. And this was just a wonderful, wonderful option. I don't think American Loopers is actually offering the 5-loop pedal anymore. I suspect, if I had to make a guess, it was because it was extremely cheap. It was like $225. Now they make an 8-loop, I believe, and that's like $400, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But here's generally how it sounds. Now keep in mind, this is a Revis. This is a much brighter amp than the one I actually used in Rest Repose. But we got my bass clean. Then we'll go to a delay. Now for 90% of the Rest Repose material, since we're not super chuggy heavy stuff, I am on just the regular dirty channel of the dual rectifier with no boost in front. Now if I want to add a little bit more something like that, then I will turn on the boost. And that's really it. It's a super simple setup that I love. I can do a lot with it. And I normally also have an E-bow for the beginning of one particular song, but I don't have that with me either because that's also at the rack space. And I forgot to grab it. So I apologize for that, but really it's just a super simple, straightforward board. And if anything goes wrong with it, everything's right there and it's easy to troubleshoot. Everything is wired up with Spectraflex cable, and this board itself is not a custom board. This is actually a Gator pedal board that comes in its own road case, and it's like $200. I chose to go with it because it was exactly what I was looking for. I didn't want a tiered pedal board or anything like that. I wanted an old-fashioned rock and roll pedal board, and that's exactly what I think I've got. Thank you so much for watching. You've been wonderful. I've been Fluff, and I'll see you next time.